The Dentalpreneur Podcast. Okay, doctor, it's time to put down that handpiece. You're listening to the show dedicated to helping dentists get their lives back. It's time to decrease your stress, increase your profitability, and regain your passion. Now introducing your host, Dr. Mark Costas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dentalpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mark Costas. What is up, my friends? I hope you're doing great out there today. A little bit sore today, I got to admit. Went snowboarding yesterday and tweaked my back a little bit, but I don't know. If you guys are into winter sports, there's nothing better than the tail end of winter sports when there is like really good snowfall and it's like 60 degrees out when you're out there. So I got a little bit of a sunburn, actually. My ears got a little bit burnt, but had a great time with my son, Brady, finally figuring out some of the technique stuff that I was trying to pick up this season. So that it's been a really good season. I think he and I have been out a dozen times now with our season pass. So I'm super excited to continue to learn how to get a little bit better on that snowboard. Today, guys, I'm really excited because I have a new friend that's joining us on the podcast today. Her name is Jaclyn Nona, and she's the CEO and co-founder of Clever Dental Company, an educational and creative platform designed to help dental practices implement effective internal marketing strategies. She's worked in the dental industry since 2013 and collaborates with top docs and practice managers in Indiana. A member of the ADOM and the American Marketing Association, Jaclyn spends her free time with her family and her wild pup, Murphy. Welcome to the podcast, Jaclyn. How are you doing today?
Hi. Good. I'm so excited to be here. I'm really grateful for the opportunity and to sit and chat with you for a while. So I really appreciate it. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. First and foremost, I got to find out, what kind of dog is Murphy?
Murphy is a golden retriever.
Oh.
And she is also, we hired her at Clever Dental Co. She's our head of morale. So she's a working pup.
Does she work for treats?
Treats and belly rubs. It's a hard bargain, but she's worth it.
Yeah. We have two office dogs. We have Rocco, who's basically a pound dog, but he looks exactly like a black version of Scooby-Doo. He's awesome. And then we have Daisy, who's our little Shih Tzu poo. And she's just the cutest little thing. She's definitely the welcoming committee at our office as well. So I'm very well aware, and I have two other dogs at home. So we are a dog family.
Yeah, I thought you were a dog person. So
This
is new. We had a cat for several years, and then the cat passed, and my husband's been wanting a dog forever since we met. So we picked out a nice golden retriever puppy for Christmas, and she's the best. I'm really enjoying her.
Goldens are the best. They have the best personalities, best dispositions. Good choice.
Thank you.
Jaclyn, so you live in Indiana. Tell me a little bit about your background. How'd you get involved with dentistry in the first place?
So that was a complete accident, actually. I went to school. I studied communications and marketing, got my bachelor's in that.
Where'd you go?
And then University of Indianapolis.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So I swam there and I studied there.
Oh.
It was a really great program, small school.
What was your event?
Breaststroke. I was a 100-yard breaststroker and sometimes the individual medley, but that was my jam.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
really fun.
all 4 years you swam?
Yes.
Incredible. I bet that was a fun experience.
It was great. And I think it really teaches you a lot about determination and ambition and work ethic. And I would recommend sports to any parent out there for sure.
For sure. Awesome. That's great. And it says a lot about you. I mean, it says a lot about you if you're able to get to the collegiate ranks and then stay the whole 4 years. That's it's getting more and more rare these days.
Yeah, it was. I'm really appreciative of it and my coaches and everyone else. So I had a whole plan for my life. I was going to go into publishing or marketing. And I met my husband, and he was an active duty Marine.
No.
And he was stationed in 29 Palms, California.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's
very
in the
much
middle
so.
of the desert.
It's very hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing is around it.
No.
There's certainly no publishing company.
I have friends from there, and that actually grew up in 29 Palms, and I've been there. It's not much there.
No. So we got married. We moved out there. And then I was looking for somewhere to work, and it was pretty much local restaurants, or there was a dental office that was hiring. So I applied, and now that was in 2012, 2013, and I never left the dental industry. I fell in love with it.
That's cool. So what all have you done in a dental office?
Everything. When I started, I was, phones, scheduling, insurance, moved my way up to billing manager, financial coordinator. Then I was our front desk lead for a while at our office, and then transitioned into a full role that is just marketing manager. That's all I do for our office now. And then that led to Clever Dental Co. Why aren't other offices doing this? And we want to help them do this. And I think it could be a little bit of a revolution. And it took us 10 years to kind of perfect our system. And now we want to share it with other people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did your husband's career get you guys to Indiana?
It did. Well, our family's in Indiana.
Okay.
So we grew up here. And then when he got out of the military, he transitioned to the fire department.
Oh, cool.
So he's on the fire department, and I found a lovely office here. I joined our office in 2016, and I've been at our office ever since. We're part of the Dental Success Institute and the Elite Practice Mastermind Club. So it's been a really good time, and I love it. I couldn't imagine anything but dentistry now.
Awesome. Who's your doc?
Dr. David Weber and Dr. Michael Kirk.
Awesome. Great.
Restore
Great.
Dental Arts. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about Clever. Tell me about how it evolved to be in existence and what you guys are all about.
Sure. So our owner, David Weber, he's a lot like you in that he really believes in empowering his staff and autonomy and growth. So we've gone from a staff of 8 to a staff of 30.
Oh my gosh.
9 years.
That's some growth.
Huge growth. We've acquired 3 different practices.
Yeah. He's a hustler, huh?
Yeah.
Both of those guys. Unbelievable. Unbelievable operators. Yep.
Yes. And social media was a big part of that. We were having a lot of success with that in our office.
Okay.
And then last summer, or maybe last spring, I brought the idea to them, and it was like, hey, we have a really successful program going here with internal marketing. And I think that there's value in this. And I think that we can show other practices how to implement this in their practice. And I love those guys. And my practice manager, Sue, they're amazing. They fully invested in me and believed in me and co-founded with me. And we created Clever Dental Co. And it's all now courses, quizzing, certification, supplemental materials, so that other practices can kind of institute this same role in their offices.
That's cool. So your mission is to take existing team members and transition them into this type of role, or hire from the outside? What ideally do you think the perfect person is to put into this role in a typical dental practice?
I think ideally I would pick someone from inside your office.
Okay.
And there's a couple factors with that. First of all, they're going to speak dental, which I think is really important. I think you should have someone loyal and someone trustworthy. Also, because sometimes they're trusted with sensitive information, right? Like maybe you're going to acquire an additional practice. Maybe your marketing team is going to have information before the rest of your staff. I think they should be self-sufficient, eager to learn, kind of that growth mindset, creative, but they don't have to have a marketing degree. That's where we come in. We have all the tools to train this person and help them implement this specific to dentistry.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So your main thrust is not external marketing, but internal marketing?
I think external marketing has its place, like maybe for website development or Google ads, but there's so much that can only be done by someone in the office.
Okay.
Like, for instance, capturing authentic content. If you have someone that is just present, like my doctors, I've been working for them for 9 years. I know them. I know their vibe. I know their values. When someone leaves a review or a comment, I know how to respond to it. I can respond to it rapidly. There's no delay like there would be with an outside agency. There's no bottlenecking. I know what they would say. I know legally how to say it around HIPAA. I speak dental. You know, that person knows you so well that they can really represent you, and in places that an outside agency can't be, right? Like a community health fair or speaking to peer doctors for specialty referrals. There's so much benefit to having someone physically on the ground handling these kind of things.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what are some of the main talking points, the themes that you're covering in your educational materials for people that are going to fill this role within a dental practice?
Yeah, I'm so excited you brought that up. It's really fun because I think it's a lot more than people would consider.
Okay.
So there's social media, right? All the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And then more than that, we also have guides on like your practice narrative. What's your practice story? How do you build your mission, vision, and values? How do you manage your reputation? What do you do if someone leaves a bad Google review? Because that happens to the best of us.
Sure does.
Community engagement, website design. We're going to have courses on practice management and leadership within your practice. So it's really going to run the gamut. Social media is a huge part of what we do, but not all of it. I think there's well outside that people don't consider.
Okay, cool. This is a great topic. So Jaclyn, everybody I think that I know that has a thriving practice has some presence on social media. Some people do it very well and get a lot of engagement, and some people try but fail to get a ton of engagement. So what are some of the people that aren't getting engagement doing wrong, and how can they improve their game?
I think for dentistry especially, so if you're looking at all these other industries that have kind of jumped on internal marketing, right? Travel, hospitality, food, retail, even hospitals have somebody on their team that's responsible for brand management, reputation, social media. And I think dentistry as a whole is just kind of behind. And, you know, I look at yourself, I was looking at your Instagram, you have almost 100,000 followers. So I know that you understand how important connection is to growth.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to be the premier office in your area, you have to relate to your community and you have to engage with your community. Like just this morning, I had a woman who has a pediatric practice in Kansas City. They need some help with their social media. A great place, I think, for her to show up would be a mom group on Facebook. When someone's searching in the mom group on, you know, my 3-year-old is ready for their first cleaning and I don't know where to take them. People aren't looking through a phone book anymore. They're not calling to book appointments. They're searching, they're going to your Google reviews, and they're going to your social media. And it's so undervalued and it's so underused by dentists. And if you're not there, I mean, your competition will be there.
Yeah, for sure. It's so true. I think that your point is well taken. And I think that a lot of people recognize that, but still struggle to figure out what the cheat codes are to creating good campaigns. So in your mind, what are some of the key elements to not just getting engagement, but like, what is the cadence? How often do you post, and what types of things are you posting? Is educational content still important, or is it more about spontaneous content and getting to know the team and the doctors?
Sure. It's definitely a mix. We try to post in our office minimally 4 times a week.
Okay.
Across platforms. I mean, it doesn't have to be 24/7 every single day, but you should be present for sure. Educational content is valuable, but what's relatable is people, right? And these new patients want to come in with an inherent trust because they know you. We have some patients that have had the same hygienist for 20 years. They are so excited when we post a picture of her for her birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, and we get flooded with comments, and then we get attraction to our page. They visit our website. It's boosting our SEO. So I think it really should be a mix of relatable, engaging, kind of funny content and educational. the beauty about having someone in your office is that content is literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just last week, 2 of our assistants got certified in expanded functions. What an easy post for me to make. It was like, Amari got her certification in expanded functions. Boom, there's a picture of Amari. I post, please congratulate Amari on expanded functions. This is what that means. Everyone's congratulating her. The traffic's coming in, the engagement. Next time they're in the office, hey, Amari, I saw you on Facebook. That's so exciting. I mean, it just leads to real relationships and community. And I think that's the only way to become premier.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So this is kind of organic, non-paid marketing strategies. Like when you're talking about internal marketing and trying to get your happy patient base to refer their friends and family because you want more people just like them in your practice.
Sure.
Do you guys have like a process for encouraging that?
You know what's incredible is that, like, let's say that I posted that assistant and she shares that on her personal page because she's proud of herself, as she should be. It's getting so much traction from family and friends, and every person that shares that and comments on that kind of becomes a silent, widespread referral to your practice. And when you're showing up 4 to 5 times a week on social media in someone's living room, you're just always in the back of their head. And I think social media really has become word of mouth. And when someone thinks of a dentist in Michigan City, they know us just because they've seen us all over social media. And now we do run paid campaigns. I'll do that on YouTube or sometimes Meta. But those organic posts are crazy successful for cheap, for nothing. And I think that there's a huge gold mine on social media that dentistry is just sitting on. It's just waiting.
Yeah, totally. I agree. So if you create this role in your office, what kind of hourly commitment are we looking at? Is this a full-time position? Is this somebody that already works in your office and you're carving out 10 to 12 hours per week for them? What does that look like? Because when you mentioned all of those different platforms, you got a bunch, right? You got Threads, you got X, you got Instagram, you got, I don't know, maybe TikTok, LinkedIn, maybe. What is the amount of time that it's going to take somebody to populate all of those accounts at, 4 times per week or whatever cadence you decide is the most effective?
I think the beauty of this method is that it's really cost efficient and it can be implemented anywhere. So an office that maybe has 1 doctor, 2 hygiene in a rural area, this is something that your front desk person can spend 3 hours a week paying attention to and taking the time on.
Okay.
And that's how we started. So I got my hand in this I was scheduling and billing. And then I said, I would kind of like to have a hand in our Facebook. That grew to Instagram, that grew to YouTube. Now we're publishing articles in magazines. I mean, it just evolves as you evolve. So that's kind of, I would say, up to the owner, whether they want that to be a small part-time hustle and maybe they give an assistant or a front desk a couple hours or a couple $1 an hour raise, or if they want to have a really dedicated marketing person that handles that. And also when you think of all these platforms, like let's say I do a 45-second reel of my doctor to put on Instagram. I can also post that on the same day on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Threads. So it might take me half an hour or 45 minutes to edit that, caption it, get it the way that I want it to look, but I can post it simultaneously. So I think it's less work than people realize. Yeah,
you're posting to several the same message to several different platforms.
Right.
On a scale of priority, how important are the number of actual Google reviews that you have in comparison to your competitors in the marketplace?
I don't know that I would pay strict attention to a numbers game. What I'm looking for and what patients are looking for are relevance and recentness. So if you have 150 reviews, but the last review was left 8 months ago, that's not great.
Yeah.
If you have 60 reviews, but they're coming in once every 2 weeks or once every 6 days, I think that says more about you. Patients are, I think, I can't remember the article I read it in, but it's something like they're only going back through the last 4 months of reviews, and something that's older than 4 months, they're really not paying attention to. And a mistake that I see a lot of people make is not responding.
Oh, okay.
So
Yes.
some people they get a 1-star review and either they're scared to respond or they don't know what to say. They never respond. But you should also be responding to your 5-star reviews, just having a lively presence there. That doesn't take a lot of time.
That's interesting. Okay. So actually engaging with people that say nice things and not just engaging with people that are upset. Okay. So that is your philosophy. What does that look like? Somebody leaves you a 1-star review. How do you not appear defensive? And what's the most constructive verbiage when we're responding to somebody that might be like very unreasonable in their critique?
I know. It's so hard.
It is so hard.
Can't say anything.
Yeah.
So I think the benefit of having someone in staff is going to be a rapid response.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And they're going to speak in the tone that you like. They know your voice. They're going to speak professionally. They're not going to embarrass you on Google. But like, let's say, someone leaves a review that says, oh, well, they kicked me out for no reason. They just refused to keep seeing my family. And that what happened was they didn't pay their bill and you called them 100 times and they never responded and they got sent to collections. But it's such a tricky thing in dental because you cannot even acknowledge that person visited your office. You cannot publicly acknowledge that they were a patient, which makes it hard. So you can't respond the way you want to.
Or
I would say something.
The counter to that, you're not allowed to say that you never have ever come here. Can you say that? Because that happens a lot, actually. You get trolls that you can't even find them in your practice management software. It's like, who is this person? They gave me a 1-star review and I've never seen them. Are you allowed to say that?
I have said something along the lines of, we have no patient record of this name in our system. You can call our office, or you can be a little cheeky, like, oh, we've not seen you before, but if you have questions about our location or our services, please give us a call. Have a nice day.
That's good. That's
what you're going to get in trouble with is acknowledging you can't say, Miss Smith, come on, you bailed on your bill and we called you 100 times, which is what you want to say.
You want to say that so badly, but probably not a good idea.
No, you could. There are some cheeky ways to get around that. You could say like, per our financial signed agreement, or this is our financial policy or our cancellation policy or no-show policy. If you have further questions, please give us a call. Ask for Jaclyn, ask for Sue, our practice manager. You really want to try your best to get that conversation offline and on the phone. But the important thing you have to remember is you cannot acknowledge that they are a patient, no matter how badly you want to. But you can find a professional, kind of cheeky way to do that. And I mean, users know. They read a review, they read what the person said, and they read your response, and they'll read between the lines of all that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really, truly, the only way to bury a 1-star review is to get them to try to take it down, or you bury it with more positive reviews. So I've never actually heard somebody encourage expanding on or commenting on 5-star reviews. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, because then it just shows you're active, you're there. And I think it means a lot to the person that left it. If you left a review and I responded and said, oh, Mark, you made our day. That's so nice of you. I can't wait to share this with our team. We've noticed that since we've started responding to all those positive reviews, it makes other patients more inclined to leave a review because they want that same attention. Similarly, if we share it on social media, like here's this new 5-star review from Cheryl. Well, now Samantha wants to be featured on your social media. So she's going to go leave a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And you're right that the best way to hide a negative one is just to really surround it with overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah. And that ratio matters, right? I mean, people start to see through the one-star review, and they seem crazy if, there's 99 to 1 negative to positive. Do you recommend any type of methodology to increase the number of reviews that you're getting?
So we use Dental Intel. They're who we partner with in our particular office.
Mm-hmm.
In their patient engagement software, there is a place to just send a text message out and shoot them a review. I will normally do that within an hour to 24 hours of them having their visit.
Okay.
When I used to sit at the front desk, I would just keep an ear out and I would listen for when people checked out to what they said. Oh, I had a great experience. Trina was so gentle when she was cleaning my teeth. And then I have a little notepad and I just make a little note. I'm going to send Jane Doe a review in an hour. And if you send out 15 of those a day, you're going to get 1 or 2 back.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be surprised just how quickly your new reviews are coming in and adding up pretty consistently.
Yeah, that's true. What percentage of your marketing efforts are organic, non-paid versus paid ads?
Oh, I would think for us in our office, it's maybe 80-20 and unpaid, 80 unpaid, 20 paid.
Okay.
And you would be completely blown away by how much traffic and new patients and referrals come in from free content. It's just actually putting that person in place to capture that moment. And it's even, I will go around sometimes on days that I can't really think of any content to post. And I'll just snap pictures of doctors doing treatment in their operatories, make sure the patient's hidden, of course. But then I throw those pictures up on Facebook. Very quick, very easy. Here's the behind the scenes, Dr. Weber's hard at work today. And that gets 45 likes. That cost me nothing. That took 2 minutes of my time. Huge engagement. And now people in the region are paying attention to us.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay. So do you have some method of tracking where your new patients come from? Are you able to say, all right, this month, our paid ads generated this many new patients and our organic ads generated this many?
Well, you can pay attention to things like Google Analytics. And sometimes we'll just ask them flat out, or when they do their new patient paperwork, there's a spot for, how did you hear about us? A lot of times it's social media. YouTube is a big one. YouTube is the world's second largest search engine. So if you're recording videos, it takes you 2 extra minutes to throw it up on YouTube. I would definitely do that. But we'll have people ask when they call. New patient acquisition is a huge component that you want to pay attention to. But something I think that's really overlooked is your current patient loyalty. Once you really bond with these patients, we're a fee-for-service office, our patients don't leave us and they continue coming here because of the relationship they have with us. They're not worried about a write-off or a discount. So not only are more new patients coming in and you can track that, but I think you should also pay attention to your patient turnover. We lose very few patients over a 12-month period because they just don't go anywhere. So
what do you attribute to that? Are you reaching out to your active patient base on the regular? Do you have a very effective recall program? Some of the things that we see for attrition is that patients just lose touch with the office and life takes over, and before you know it, it's a couple of years and they haven't been in. Sure. So what's your best way of making sure that attrition doesn't creep up?
Well, we always reappoint, or we try our best to reappoint at every recare appointment. But the beautiful thing about, we're a city of 30,000 people. Between our platforms, we have 11,000 followers.
Oh, that's great.
So we have a huge local and regional following. And then because we're popping up so often, where you would normally see Jane Doe just twice a year at her 6-month recare, Jane Doe is seeing you in her living room twice a week when she's scrolling on her phone at night. It makes it much more difficult for them to forget about you and get busy with life. If they pull up an Instagram and there's Dr. Weber on Instagram, oh yeah, I got to call him. I've been meaning to, I have a toothache, whatever. They're getting back in the office. And you also need to be active with your community. We do coat drives, school supply drives, things like that, where we're really present and kind of hard to forget. We're just always there.
That's cool. That's cool. So what are some of the ways that you get your active patient base or your existing patient base to engage with you guys on social media?
It's not really a difficult thing to do. There's no secret recipe to do that. They like our docs. They like our staff. They have good relationships with them. They've come to know them over the years. And when I post something like it's Trina's birthday, she will get 96 comments in a 2-hour period of just patients that want to come in and say happy birthday or something like that that's free. And then when Jane Doe comments on that post, that shows up on her feed. That also shows up on the feed of every single person that she's friends with. Jane Doe commented on this post, and it spreads and spreads and spreads. And we get huge organic engagement without paying for it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So if somebody has very weak social media game and they like everything you're saying, what does it look like to work with you guys? So what is the process? Somebody reaches out via your website and you get on a call with them, and what does the process look like? How are they educated, and to what degree are you actually helping them craft social media posts versus kind of a do-it-yourself?
Yeah, so our method is definitely teach a man to fish. I don't want to jump in and do that for you. I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make when they try to outsource the social media. I think you run into a lot of carbon copy posts that look the same as everyone else that's using that service.
Right. Yeah, agreed.
What we do, the website's cleverdentalco.com. You can sign up for a 30-day free trial, which I really like because especially if you do have weak social media game, you don't really understand what you're signing up for or paying for. You can be a little bit wary. So I like that 30-day free trial. It's going to give you 5 courses. So ideally, this would not be Doc taking the courses. This is going to be whoever he's assigning to learn this material.
Okay.
We give you 5 courses for free. These guidebooks are between 20 or 30 pages of material. You go through a course, you take a quiz, you get a certification. And then if you want to go beyond that free trial, it's a monthly subscription fee. We have 20 courses right now. I take that back. I just finished course number 19. So we're getting toward 20.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of supplemental materials like HIPAA compliant social media forms and web consent forms, content planners, just to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to have a marketing degree. There's prompts for videos, things like that. And then I will also do a personal coaching session, a 1 hour. When we get through with that, I send you home with kind of a plan for implementation based on your specific practice, because pediatric is going to have different needs than an orthodontist, than an endodontist, than a GP, and so on.
What platform are you guys using for your courses?
The platform is just our website.
Oh.
I built all the ebooks. The quizzing and courses are built into the website.
Oh, wow.
So once you join, you're at an educational and creative platform.
How long are the trainings typically? Like you said, you've done 19 of them now, which is great. How long, or what do they average as far as how long is somebody sitting there to consume the content and then take the test quizzes?
The actual content consumption, the book, the course, the quiz, I wouldn't think that would take you more than a few days.
Okay.
The lengthy process after that is going to be implementing what you've just learned back into your practice. So it's not like you can take a quiz on Instagram and then suddenly your practice Instagram has 1,000 followers. You have to go back and put this into practice. So I would give someone, I think, 12 months to see real solid results, to see your followers and your engagement go up and new patients coming in, and to have a complete turnaround in this. I don't think this is a case where you can sit down and try to learn how to build a website, how to train your front desk, and how to manage YouTube within a week. I think you probably need to go a little bit slower than that.
Yeah, sure. What's I know it probably varies from market to market, practice to practice, but what's worked the best for you? Which social media platform has been the biggest driver for you guys?
Oddly enough, we're very popular on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone seems to insist that Facebook is dying. But for us, somehow we stay really relevant on Facebook. Instagram's big for us. Where we've had luck with getting new patients actually in the chair having big treatment like full arch cases or all on X has come from YouTube.
Oh,
because
okay.
you can put a little bit of money behind a YouTube video, and when someone is scrolling, it pops up. Like I said, we're in Michigan City. We had a gentleman that ended up being a $50,000 case come from Chicago because he saw our doctor on YouTube and then went down a rabbit hole of watching all of our videos.
That's so cool. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about that. I love consuming my personal content on YouTube. It's my favorite platform. I like Instagram some, but if I find an influencer or somebody that I find interesting, I usually find them on Instagram or TikTok and then look to see if there's any longer form content on YouTube, and there almost always is. So what do you guys do with your kind of medium form content on YouTube? What videos are you creating?
Anything. This is what I have all the prompts for, but a lot of treatment explanations.
Okay.
Like we have our own All on X package, a bundle that we do in our office. So there's videos that might be 6 or 7 minutes long that a patient can go watch for reference, explaining what that package is. That's not going to be interesting to everybody on Instagram.
Sure. Yeah.
No one on Instagram is going to sit around for a 7-minute video.
No.
And then we have really short things on YouTube that have come in handy, like post-op instructions for wisdom tooth removal or for sedation. We can send that link out in a text to a patient. Okay. Because, at the end of their appointment, it's pretty overwhelming to get all of that information. If you give them a sheet, they lose it or they throw it away. So we text them that YouTube link. They can pull that up at any time, reference post-op instructions, procedure explanations. Some of them are just silly. Some of them are just like, around Halloween, what's your favorite kind of candy, or what's your favorite local restaurant? Just relatable, but it's all mixed into more educational and procedural things.
That's cool. Do you guys do any seasonal stuff? What are your big kind of seasonal pushes that you do? Today, right now, it's I'm wearing green because it's St. Patrick's Day. But like what type of seasonal things do you utilize for socials?
I love this question, and I would tell my clients the same thing, that this is such easy content. It's right in front of your face. This morning, I took a picture of all of our girls at the front desk wearing green for St. Patrick's Day. I posted that a few hours ago. I want to say it has 30 likes, and I posted that at like 10 a.m.
That's great.
Again, easy content. I would utilize any opportunity that you can. I posted a picture of the doctors for Valentine's Day. I put them in little heart sunglasses, silly graphics. I would do that for every holiday.
That's cool.
And then I would tie it in also to community events. Like every time the weather changes, we do a coat drive in our office for a local women's shelter.
That's awesome.
We do that in October. Thank you. It's really fun. But we collect from October through Thanksgiving. And then Thanksgiving, the coat drive is over. We drop everything off. We post about that. And that transitions a really nice timeline into all the holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve type posts. But anything like that is easy content. You should jump on it. Your people want to see that. Your patients want to connect to you.
For sure. For sure. Awesome. So, Jaclyn, what's the best way to engage if people are interested and they're looking for an edge on their organic marketing and they want to see if this is something that will generate, real results in their office? How do they start with you guys?
You can visit cleverdentalco.com. We have links to all of our socials up there. We're everywhere. I think it would be kind of silly if I was promoting it and we weren't everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find me personally on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
You can send an email anytime. My husband would say I'm on my phone too much responding to those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am reachable. If you have questions about it, I'd be happy to talk you through it.
So if you've identified somebody on your team, you think they'd be a good fit for kind of leading the charge with this initiative, how much time should you carve out of their schedule for a beginner at this?
For learning, I would say I would give them 1 day a week initially.
Oh, full day. Okay. Uh-huh.
Away from patients, just to be able to focus on, especially a lot of times this ends up being someone that you're taking from the front desk.
Yeah.
And it can be really hard to focus on this material when you're being interrupted with phone calls and check-in and check-out and insurance verification and billing and, all that gets thrown onto the front desk. So if they can have maybe a quiet afternoon or a full day where they can sit and kind of really pull through this material,
mm-hmm.
I think it's going to make a big difference. And then the beauty of that too, having someone in there, is they can spearhead the rest of your office getting involved. And it becomes a huge culture shift when people are involved and excited to participate. And we've noticed such low staff turnover because people get really proud of what we're doing and they can display that to their family and friends. So there's a lot of hidden benefits to it.
Yeah, that is cool. Recognition is such a huge part of creating a strong culture within your within your organization. And I think social media is just, something that a lot of people don't think of as a mechanism for getting that recognition out there. Very cool. Well, Jaclyn,
I couldn't agree more.
Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
I don't know, honestly. I'm so excited to talk to you. I prepped a lot, but I think that we covered it all on my end.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, I look forward to meeting you in person sometime soon. And I thank you for taking the time with me today. It was very informative, and I wish you the very best of luck with this endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My doctors will be at the June Summit in Frisco.
I can't wait to see them. Yes. Hopefully you can tag along. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jaclyn Nona.